Hi, welcome to this episode of Why Golf Geography. Today we're looking at the Urban Issues and Challenges section. It's the UK city about Stoke-on-Trent, and we're looking at a 6-mark question, which is the environmental challenges in a UK city. Here we've got the information page, so if you don't have access to the booklet, feel free to pause the video here and zoom in and skim read this information. This talks about all the environmental challenges we're looking at today, which is building on brownfield, greenfield sites, the dereliction of the areas, and also waste disposal. Here's our exam question for today, which is discuss the challenges of waste disposal in your chosen major UK city. That's 9 marks plus 3 SPAG marks, spelling, punctuation and grammar. As we saw, the command word is discuss, so that is presenting the key ideas about different points, the strengths and the weaknesses of an idea. In the yellow box we can see we've got, as usual, the introduction sentence, which is including a case study, a place name. Number 2, we're looking at the positives, we're going to make a mini decision. Number 3, we've got the negatives, then make a mini decision. And if you think the discussion isn't even, maybe include a 4th paragraph there. So you're going to look at maybe a positive or a negative if you think it's non-even argument. Then you're going to weigh up and make your decision, your final decision, your conclusion. On the right hand side are some sentence starters, some words to include, and of course the mini decisions at the end of each section. If you find the command words a bit confusing, so discuss, assess, to what extent, evaluate, all those kind of things, feel free to use what's called the multi-tool structure. This one doesn't change. If you use this, it'll be absolutely fine. This is on the next slide. Here we've got the multi-tool structure. You can see we've got the introduction, peel positives, peel negatives, and a conclusion. It's really similar to the discuss one that you've seen before. At the top of the yellow box, it says refer to, and of course where possible refer to social, economic, environmental, maybe even short term, long term, local, global. Those are the kind of things that can add a little bit of detail to this multi-tool structure. So once we've got the question, you might want to write this down and annotate it, or really think about in detail what you're going to write. So we've got the positives and negatives, that's discuss. The challenges, so basically that's the issues, and also maybe drop in there how those issues overcome. Waste disposal, again, show you understand the issues around waste disposal. You don't need to write a definition about it, but just weave it into your answer somewhere. And our chosen UK city is of course Stoke-on-Trent. As ever, we're talking about assessment objectives AO1, AO2, AO3. AO1 is all about knowing good geography. That's stuff like data, geography words, place names, examples, so such as. AO2, that's understanding the knowledge. Can you explain it? So words like this means that, this results in, a knock-on effect of this is, due to. And finally, probably most importantly, make a decision. Words like significant, important, effective, successful, those are the words that help you to make a decision. In terms of distilling this down to actually what have you got to include, the question says, discuss the challenges of waste disposal in your chosen UK city. You're going to write the introduction, name the place you have studied, and include some words from the question in your first sentence. Of course, waste disposal, the word challenge maybe. Paragraph 2, what's the first challenge of waste disposal? Choose one, have a look through the information, choose one first challenge. Include AO1, AO2, and make a mini decision, mini conclusion. Paragraph 2, choose another one, a second challenge of waste disposal, AO1, AO2, and make a mini decision. Finally, importantly at the end, use one of these keywords for your assessment objective 3, so significant, important, effective, successful. You might also want to look at the short and long term issues about waste disposal. Maybe look at 2 from maybe the social, economic and environmental, maybe 2 of those. Can you weave those into your conclusion somewhere? Here's the space that you would have in a usual exam, maybe 10-12 lines, maybe a few more because it's 9 marks. Effectively your first 2 or 3 lines is your introduction, your last 3 or 4 lines is your conclusion, and in the middle you've probably got maybe 7 or 8 lines left, and that's going to be your main exposition, your main explanation of your work. Here's the mark scheme. As ever, it's level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 is basic, level 2 is clear, and level 3 is a thorough understanding. In terms of spelling, punctuation and grammar, we have grade 1, which is the threshold performance, so it's okay. You've got some spelling mistakes in there somewhere, it takes a little bit of reading to understand what's going on. Number 2 is intermediate performance, it's pretty accurate. And finally, high performance at the top. So your spelling, especially with subject-specific words, is accurate. The way that you've structured your answer is really good in terms of its grammar and how it's laid out. Here's your answer. Yours, of course, might look a little bit different depending on which examples you have chosen. So, with a population of about 260,000 people in Stoke-on-Trent, there's a challenge in managing waste. The issue of household waste is addressed through using coloured recycle bins. For example, recyclable plastics are put into the blue bin and garden waste is put into the brown bin, which means that it can be recycled. Not everyone does this though, meaning that contaminated waste cannot be recycled. Although there's 2 recycling centres for larger items such as white goods, those are fridges and freezers and washing machines, there continues to be an issue with fly tipping. This results in the council using other monies to fund the £500,000 clean-up costs. A knock-on effect of this is there's less money for other social services. In conclusion, I think that managing household waste has now been successful as it's been running for so long. However, the cost of fly tipping has a negative short-term effect upon the council services that can be provided in the future. And here's the answer with the AOs identified. AO1, that's in pink or red, and that shows the date of the examples, the place names. You've got AO2 in orange, so which means that this results in a knock-on effect of this is. And AO3, that's your conclusions. You can see actually in here, it might have been even better at the end of each section to put in a mini conclusion. Those aren't evident in this, but if they're in yours, that makes your answer even better than this example here.